Welcome back at 7:12, everybody. And the largest Veterans Day parade in the United States will kick off at 12:30 today. An estimated 20,000 marchers will make their way up Fifth Avenue for the 105th annual parade.
Yeah, all branches of the military service, men and women, will be honored. But this year, the Marines will be featured. So we're honored to be joined this morning by the Grand Marshal of the parade, United States Marine veteran and Medal of Honor recipient, Dakota Meyer. So good morning to you, and thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
When we talk about all the honors you've received, you have a distinguished service career. And not only did you receive the Medal of Honor, but you also received a Purple Heart for your time in Afghanistan. Can you share a little bit of your story with us?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, no, it was truly an honor to be able to serve, the greatest country on the face of the planet. But I was on an embedded training team over in Afghanistan in 2009, and we had gone into a village called the Ganjgal Valley. Ultimately, a lot of things had gone wrong. My team had gotten trapped inside the valley, and I was with another guy, Staff Sergeant Rodriguez Chavez, and a group of Afghans, and we formed a team together and went back in and made multiple trips over and over, trying to break the momentum of the enemy and go ahead and retrieve all of our counterparts as far as Afghan soldiers and Marines, and ultimately we located my teammates. They'd all been killed in action, but we ended up getting them out, and just getting that's kind of how we did it.
Unbelievable! Wow. Yeah. Again, thank you for your service to the country here, and you're the second youngest living recipient of the Medal of Honor, so that is quite an honor, right? How did that kind of shape the rest of your experience and the rest of your life?
Yeah, look, it's provided me an opportunity. The Marine Corps and the Medal of Honor have provided me an opportunity and a platform to be able to go out and make a difference and continue that service that I did while I was in uniform, to go back and keep pushing on for the communities that we fought so hard for and that we believed in. Yeah. And that's what I've continued to try to do is use that for the greater good, use that platform and that bad of that day, which that represents. But take that spirit that I seen on the battlefield, that unconditional love of and the power of what people who believe in the cause can do, and to go out and help others, and so to take that back and infuse it back in the communities that we have here. Yeah.
I mean, even after you left that kind of service, you became a firefighter, an EMT, and then as you were just speaking to, you continue to look out for those that are suffering from PTSD. Can you talk about specifically about what you're doing to make sure that those folks are not forgotten?
Yeah, well, the first thing that I try to wake up and be every day is an example. When we look at PTSD, depression, and anxiety, this is something that's not unique to just the military. It's something that's in all of our households every single day, that's flourishing throughout not only the United States of America, but the globe. And so to be able to go out and, I think for me, the misconception that was put out was that it was a terminal illness. And really it's not, it's just an injury, and it's worth going and getting the help, and there are tools out there to do that. And so every day I go out and I can push on and I can be an example of what to be. These are struggles that I had gone through, and to be able to show that to Americans and people that you can get through it.
How did you cope then after your service?
I think the first thing that I had to do was I had to a lot of times we get really wrapped up around blaming the mental health system and all of this. And look, it's 2024. We've got more tools and resources out there than any generation ever has. Yeah. But before we can blame the mental health system and we can blame doctors and the methods, we have to look in the mirror and say, are we being a good patient? And I think it was that level of accountability of looking in the mirror and doing my part and getting better and wanting to get better and believing that you can get better, right? Because what you believe is what you can achieve. And so, I talk about it all the time. There was a point in time in my life where I didn't believe that I could run a mile after getting out of the military. And I just finished an Ironman last year.
Wow.
And so being able to go and it's worth it. It's worth getting help for. It's worth going and doing that, whether it's counseling, everybody's got their own way that they have to deal with it. But there's no reason in comparing what you've gone through. Look, the worst day of your life, or the worst day of my life, is no more significant than the worst day of your life. It's just the worst day of our lives, and us uniting on a bad day and being able to help and be there for each other as human beings is what we've got to do, and that's going to be the real power of being able to get through the mental health piece.
That's an amazing way of looking at it too. Just the question of, am I being a good patient? That hits a lot of people at home too, because it could go so many different ways. Am I being a good patient, right, in the doctor's office? And you're not only focused on that, but you're also focused on the youth, which is really just so important too. That's the future. The Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation established this "If you can, you must" scholarship, right? So tell us about that and how folks can get involved.
You know, I continue to serve. I love people. I love this country. It's not conditional. It's an unconditional way of life of being able to serve and help people where you can and where they need it. And so, you know, with the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation, they honor Marines by educating their children, and it's something, you know, every country I fought in, the #1 factor of why we're fighting in that country is because of a lack of education.
Yeah.
And so, you know, seeing the power of education and seeing the power of what an educated generation of people can do, whether it's good or bad, right? Like, you know, how they're educated. And so, you know, being able to team up with the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation on the If You Can, You Must campaign that we launched, to raise $2 million to help educate this next generation, you know, especially this demographic of Marines, their children. They already understand the power of, you know, the United States of America. They understand the importance of the flag that we fly above our country. And so to be able to help educate that demographic of human beings is something that is very important to me, especially for the next generation.
How did you land on the name of If You Can, You Must?
You know, there's this incredible man named Tom Donahue. And Tom Donahue, he summed it up last year. It was actually about a year ago. You know, I always tried to push out like what I believed in and what I do. And he talked about, you know, if you can help somebody, you must help somebody, because not everybody has the ability to help that person. And it's really the way that I try to live my life is like, if we really want to make a difference in our country, we need to stop walking past problems that we can make better.
Yeah.
We need to stop looking at things as, this isn't my problem or somebody else will fix it, and assuming that it's going to be somebody else's responsibility.
Yeah.
And we just need to try to take care of others. You know, and we can have so much impact on people. You don't have to go out and have a ton of money. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be financially. It doesn't have to be these other things. It's just being kind to people sometimes, right? It's just, hey, saying good morning to people. You know, it's just little things like that. You don't know what people are going through. And so, you know, the If You Can, You Must campaign came from that in honor of Tom. And to be able to go out and educate this next generation and help them where we can.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. You're very inspiring. Just real quickly, I know you're releasing your 3rd book.
I am, yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us real quickly about that?
So, you know, I'm releasing my 3rd book. It's called Why to What? You know, and really it's the simple way that I took myself from, you know, being this broken, not knowing which direction to go, feeling like everything was overpowering of me, and really taking back control of it one small piece at a time by setting out for trying to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. And so it's just a simple way of helping how I got myself. It's the blueprint back to how I got myself to where I am today to be able to help others.
Incredible. Well, Dakota Meyer, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you're doing in terms of educating the future as well, the books, and it's no wonder why you're the Grand Marshal.
Thank you.
The Grand Marshal today. So have a good time at the parade. Happy Veterans Day to you and so many.
Again.
Thank you.
And be sure to pick up a copy of the book Why to What wherever books are sold.